Hello, great ones. Welcome to the Live and Be Great podcast. I'm your host, Latanya Sampson McDonald. I am a life coach and a registered marriage and family therapist associate. And this podcast was created to motivate, educate, and inspire all to live and be great. And I am back. I want to start off with my explanation for my hiatus. And if this is not your first time listening on this episode, you know that I am someone that believes in not just talking about it, but being about it. So for the new listeners, I do go away and I do not work if I'm not feeling it, right? That's part of me being an entrepreneur. That's part of me being self-aware and taking back my time, understanding that I cannot pour from an empty cup. So yes, the podcast is supposed to be bi-weekly, but sometimes things are very, very hectic. So as long as the season isn't over, which we have after this episode, it's 5 more episodes. As long as the season isn't over, I'll be back when I'm back. Okay. And I love having that freedom. I really, really do. And if it's something that I want to inspire other people to do, which is to take care of themselves, I want to make sure that I'm always leading by example. But I had a very, very, very busy couple of weeks. I was in a dance performance, the weekend of the 29th September. And then the weekend after that, I was in a play called For the Love of Harlem, where I was also a part of the dance ensemble. So, yeah, I was busy. And then last week, or the week before that, which was when I was supposed to come back, I was tired. Very, very exhausted from the back-to-back rehearsals, and then also managing clients and new clients and life in general, because it does not stop for anybody or anything. So taking those moments for yourself when you can is very, very important, and I took my moment. All right? Okay, so on today's episode, we are going to be talking about making new friends. And of course, every podcast episode that I do, it always has something to do with something I may have been going through currently in my life, or a friend or a client or whatever the case may be, that I felt the need to, speak on and talk about. So I was talking to a friend the other day, and she was telling me how it's so difficult for people to meet new friends as adults. And that is accurate. Because, when you're younger and you have to go to school, or you have to go to the after school program, or you have to live in a neighborhood with certain kids, or whatever the case may be, or you want to be on a team, wherever there is basically forced fellowship, you have to go to church, whatever the case may be, wherever there's forced fellowship when you're younger, it's a tad bit easier to make friends that way, because you have a common interest, or you're in the same place, and you're able to talk to one another, strike up a conversation based off of whatever's going on in that space, whatever that space is designated for, right? But also, when you become an adult now, there are let me say, there are so many, there are stipulations, right? And some of the stipulations are necessary, some of them are unnecessary. For example, a necessary stipulation is, I don't know you, so I need to get to know you before I call you my friend. That is necessary. An unnecessary stipulation is, I have friends that's been my friend for since I was in kindergarten or whatever, grade school or whatever the case may be, and because I have them, I don't want to make new friends because that'll be a betrayal to them, right? Now, the reason why I say that is unnecessary is because how you perceive the world, you attract who you are. And you also attract who you are based off of the given circumstances that you are in. Just because you may have had a friend since you were, however old, or had a friend for however many years, does not mean that you can't make new friends, right? I do understand how exhausting it can be, because you kind of feel like, all right, I know this person. I've been to so many different pivotal events with this person. The thought of having to go through that process of learning someone or even teaching someone about me that wasn't there to experience my past can feel like a daunting task, right? It can, and that can be part of the reason why people may shy away. Also, trauma does affect literally every decision you make in your life, whether you've healed from that trauma or you've normalized that trauma. And the frenemy thing is a real thing. You can have a frenemy from day one that you didn't know was secretly always jealous of you, or you ignored the signs. Or you can have a frenemy from that person that let me go backwards. What am I trying to say? I know I just said that you can have a frenemy that you didn't know was a frenemy, and they could have been your friend for years, right? Or you could be attracting the same archetype because you haven't done what you need to do to heal, right? You could be attracting more frenemies over and over and over again based off of you not doing what you need to heal from your trauma. But not only that, raise the bar, raise the standard, right? Why should you be the only one that does what they need to do to work on themselves and be accountable for how they treat people and not the people around you, right? So oftentimes, subconsciously, we attract what we are, we attract what we're used to. I remember, hearing people say, oh, me and my sisters, we fight all the time physically. So if I hit you, we're still friends, right? That's part of that normalized trauma. Like, you shouldn't be putting your hands on anybody. Once you put your hands on me and you're someone that is supposed to love me and be my friend or whatever the case may be, it's over. It's a wrap. There is no you forgive me and we coming back. No accountability. You could be like, well, my parents never apologized for anything, so I'm not apologizing to you. Or it could be the other way around, where you attract somebody who has no accountability, can't say when they're wrong, or even if they may not feel that they're wrong, if they made you feel a certain type of way, they can't say, I did not mean to make you feel that way, right? Normalized trauma. Okay? Sorry about the beeping in the background. But I ain't doing that no more. Right? I'm not. I mean, there are certain people that really actually know when they meet someone what they're going to be about. There are also people who, okay, say they see the potential in that person and they just want to stick around for that, right? They want to continuously be a support system to them because they understand their trauma, they understand what they've been through, and that I feel like can put you in harm's way. Okay? It can. I noticed over the past couple of weeks that I need to raise the standards in the selection process. And that is something that, I want to teach my clients. I want to teach really anybody who I care about to raise the bar, because it really, really can blow up in your face if you know you've worked on yourself, you worked on your self-esteem, you've reached your goals and you feel good about it, and then you try to reach back and try to support that friend that still can't see it in themselves, right? So you kind of feel like you're talking to a brick wall. Why do they keep going down there? Number one, it's great to be that supportive friend, but also understand that if that person does not believe it for themselves, right, it doesn't even matter how much you try to prove to them that you support them and you believe in them. It does not matter if they do not do the work to heal from their trauma, to believe in themselves. And I remember saying this in a couple of conversations, that you can have that friend where they come and complain to you about a certain situation, and you're like, no, I wouldn't put up with that. You should stand up for yourself, right? And I used to say they usually, stand up to you first, because they're not realizing that they're also teaching you how to treat them. So, and you subconsciously don't realize that, hey, this person is being weak, so I'm going to talk to them this way, or, since they're giving their all to this person who don't deserve it, I'm going to take what I can take too. Subconsciously, a lot of people don't even realize that that is what they're doing, right? And especially the people who have put up with so much, they're not realizing that they're teaching people how to treat them. But there's another side to that, which I realized, right? The other side is that they may be too afraid to stand up to who they need to stand up, which is the person who is actually making a conscious decision to take advantage of them. So they come at you. They throw you under the bus. And when you look at people that have low self-esteem and haven't dealt with their trauma, haven't dealt with the lack of growing up having emotionally unavailable caretakers or parents, to where they didn't get that validation of, oh, they're good, or they can do anything, or they're beautiful, they're smart, when they didn't get it, right? They can be in a continuous process of attracting people who are emotionally unavailable to them, right? So you could be, holding them in your arms when they cry and they call you late nights, or you come and you're the pull-up friend when you don't hear from somebody and you actually are there for them. You can be that, right? But because they haven't understood, they haven't figured out their value yet, right? Because they haven't worked on themselves, they haven't healed yet, they're still reaching for that unavailable parent. They're still bending over backwards trying to get the people that don't appreciate them to see them, when really what they're supposed to be doing is cutting off those people. You don't see my value, I can't be around you, right? But it's hard for them to get there if they themselves don't feel the value. Okay? And I had a conversation because I recently had to cut people off when I was able to come to certain realizations. And I know I usually have my rose-colored glasses on. I am one of those people who for years, I just lead with the rose-colored glasses. I see your potential as soon as you walk up, whether you're a hero or a villain, I see your potential. Right? I usually don't want to see the darkness. That's just not the first thing. I try to give everybody a chance because I felt like I lived a life where I was often prejudged just based off of how I look, let alone after I open my mouth, right? And I would just I felt this pressure to prove that I wasn't a hater, right? And that I was the supportive friend and that I could be trustworthy. Like, please don't misjudge me, misguide me before you get to know me. And I am the type that even the person may be showing me all types of signs of low self-esteem. I always looked at that as, oh no, I can help you. I want you to see the potential I see in you, right? Because that's what I do. That's how I've always tried to look at people that, are haters or jealous of me. My thing is like, I'm going to give you something to be jealous about. So I'm going to do this more, right? This is something that makes me feel good. Oh, she's this age. She shouldn't still be dancing. Okay. I'm actually pretty good at it. And I'm going to keep doing it. Like, that's been my mindset. And when I do have a friend that I feel like is just great and talented or whatever the case may be, I want them to feel empowered when I feel empowered as well. And then when I forget, I want to be able to lean on that friend and that friend lean on me, right? That's how I view friendship. Because at the end of the day, yeah, we're human and sometimes our trauma sneaks up. Right? And sometimes, you may think you're over a certain hump when it comes to your healing journey, but hey, what about this part? What about the next level of making sure that you don't allow your trauma and what you've been through to break you or alter who you are and who you're trying to be as a person in this world, right? So, standards. It's okay to have standards. It's okay to, if you know for a fact you've reached a certain level of integrity, accountability, and loving on yourself, sometimes your first instinct, you do need to go ahead and trust it until that person goes out of their way to show you something different. Sometimes we're feeling like, okay, yeah, I had a feeling about this person, but I don't want to judge them. I want to give them a chance because I don't want somebody to give me a chance. The main phrase that's been going through my head is rejection is protection. All day, every day. You didn't get that job. You didn't get into that house. You didn't get that audition. You didn't get the girl. You didn't get the guy. Whatever the case may be. You didn't get invited to the party, right? Rejection is protection, and that's going to be the mood forever in all ways. Sometimes you are selling yourself short so much to the point where you're trying to figure out, like, how dare I get rejected for this position, or don't get invited to this party, or I miss this whole entire event, or whatever the case may be. How dare they marry this person when they know I'm a better match? Sometimes because you haven't fully stepped into who you are and you don't really know how to honor that, right? You lower your standards. And I feel as though when you raise the bar for yourself and you put in the hard work, the people around you, if they want to stay around you, need to be held to the same standard. So forget this. Oh, I don't want to be judgmental. I had a feeling about this person, and then 5, 10, 10 different red flags pop up, and you still trying to give them a chance because you feel like now you in too deep and you got to go ahead and finish out whatever the thing is, right? No, don't. Sometimes, like I said, rejection is protection. If you've been feeling the type of way, if you feel like this person is making like real like insensitive comments towards you, or poking at you or being overly critical towards you when you haven't been to them, right? The longer you stay around that negative energy or what you know in your heart isn't right for you, the more you become that, the more you become associated with everything that is, and the more you're going to feel drained when you don't set that bar. If you set the bar for yourself, right? Set it for other people. Now, I'm not saying, hey, cut off the friend that calls you when they can't stand up for somebody. No. That's not what I'm saying. There's levels to this, right? Me, say if a friend keeps complaining about a certain job and I tell them, hey, you better than this, and that's been the conversation for about 2 or 3 times, right? By time number 4, oh, I don't want to hear about it no more. I don't even care. We're going to talk about something else. I already told you what to do. You're not doing it, right? And if you can't be honest with yourself and say, hey, I'm not ready, right? Then do what you need to do to put up with that situation. And don't come over here stressing me about it, right? Because now I'm actually, the more that I sit there and listen to you make the wrong decision when you know better, right? When you actually, and I'm talking about the ones that will sit there and agree with you and be like, I feel better now. You're right. I'm going to do what I need to do, right? Of course, they can't make that change until they're ready. But I don't want to hear nothing else about it. Right? Don't bring it back over here. Do not. Okay? Next time you bring it back over here, it needs to be, okay, I did what needed to be done. Or else, now you're wasting my time, you're wasting my energy, and the same drain that you get when you're doing things that you know is going unnoticed or unappreciated, now you're putting that on to this friend who does know your worth and does appreciate you. And that's not fair. Okay? It isn't. And I'm not trying to enable you. Let you think that I'm going to sit here and watch you continue to make dumb decisions. I don't want to be associated with that. That's a low level mentality. And I don't want that to rub off on me. This might sound harsh to some people. However it sounds right now, I'm okay with it. Whether this is good, whether this empowers you, or this turns you completely off from me. Whatever it's doing, it's supposed to do. And I'm going to go with that. But I'm going to say exactly what I need to say. Because I did not go through what I went through for a reason, right? To understand how to protect myself. And neither did you. Now, when I talked about raising the bar and the selection process being based off of trauma, right? Sometimes, even when you've worked on yourself and you may still have those friends that you attracted in your brokenness, you have to be aware that now you've changed, right? And sometimes they still haven't grown yet. So that's going to cause a disconnect, right? So you got to give yourself permission to create a support system. You have to give yourself permission to create a support system that now fits the level of who you are now. Give yourself permission to do that and don't feel bad about it. You can still have love for a person, right? And honor whatever journey you guys had together. But When you elevate, you either come with me or you're getting left behind. Because if not, there's always going to be someone that unfortunately drags you down with them. Maybe they're not ready to go yet, or they look at you as an inspiration, but they're not ready. That's the case. Okay, let me be your inspiration from the sidelines. You're not about to come sit in the same space with me. You just ain't. Right? It's good to love people where they at. But trust and believe, if you don't begin to raise those standards, if you don't say, hey friend, you've been talking to me about this for years and you still ain't done nothing, I don't want to hear about this no more. Right? If you can't even do that, and that's a real baby step. Whether y'all believe it or not, it's a baby step. And yeah, sometimes your friends call you, they don't call you to fix anything. Or sometimes it could be a family member, right? That, hey, a mother or father, you can't, people very sensitive about that. And they're like, no, you can't. That's still your mother. That's still your father, whatever the case may be. Me, I still say, hey, you got to set a boundary, friend. Or they going to continue to do this. And because I feel what you feel, and I'm watching you go through this year after year, time after time, event after event, it's time for you to do something about it. Because I'm going to make sure that I do something about my stuff that I come to you about. Right? Now, also, you got to be honest with yourself and be like, hey, I'm not even like that. I don't even, hold myself accountable for setting boundaries and raising my standards and setting the bar up higher when I set the bar up higher for me. If that's where you at, that's where you at, And hey, at that time, you and your friends that haven't raised the bar either, y'all on the same level. Okay, great. But for those of you who have done the work, all right, not only do you need to elevate, right? You also need to elevate those standards, or I promise you, you will pay for it in the end. It's a whole trickle down effect. And how I know karma works, or the universe, or whoever you feel like is protecting you in other realms, right? After you know better and you haven't learned the lesson, it gets more and more aggressive and more violent. It's like a drug addict overdosing, surviving, overdosing again, and dying. Right? Gets more aggressive. Okay? More aggressive. Or even the people that say go into the gastric bypass surgery. You still got to keep up that same diet that you had before the bypass surgery. Or else, what? You start to bust that stomach, the incisions and all of that, all of that work that they did for you to actually get what you want. It starts literally coming apart at the seams if you don't raise the bar for yourself and your health. Worst situation for you. Okay? So just like that, it gets more aggressive. Regardless of whether you feel like you've been getting away with selling yourself short or being mediocre, based off of your own standards, of course, when you know you can do better, if there's any thought that you can do better, with any situation, I don't care what it is, and you ignore it, you've already shown that you know better. So why not? Why wouldn't the karma come even worse, come even faster for you? Why wouldn't you be tested again, even more harsher, and lose more, have more at stake? Because you're not getting it, and you've asked for respect, you've asked for love, support, kindness, riches, Like everything, right? You've asked for these things. You have to prepare yourself for it. And mentally, how you do that is you work on your trauma. You be accountable for how you show up in the world, how you treat people, but you also have to be accountable for the company that you keep. If you know these people got character flaws, right? Or you've watched these people lie, cheat, steal, please believe you next. Why do you think you're any better? If that didn't stop them, right? What's to stop them from doing whatever it is to somebody that appreciates them? And then you set the example. Like, you also set the example for, like, if you have children or if you mentor people, they're gonna go based off of what you're doing, right? Like, when me and my friend talked about how it's so difficult to meet friends, I brought up the fact that, especially us as women, we've watched somebody, that hurt our mom, that our mom, complained about, and it's like, no, this person did me so wrong. And then next Sunday, the person at our house. And I'm like, why this person here? And I'm getting pinched. Because my authentic self as a little girl or whatever, teenager, whatever, is like, this person did all this to you, right? No, you don't come over here, right? But when we're watching, those who we look up to or those who have influence move through the world, we normalize the stuff. We do, right? So if you have somebody watching you, or even if you say, okay, I've reached here in my healing journey, and I have a friend that hasn't reached here yet, right? You can't be telling your friend to stick up for themselves and you're not doing it. Do it. Okay? Do it. And then if they ain't moving with you, if they not trying to better themselves or grow with you, bounce. Give your energy to someone who is ready to move, because all it's going to do is continue to annoy you, and sometimes it drags you back to something that you've already overcome. And I'm hoping that y'all are fully understanding where I'm coming from with this, and I'm giving good examples. Okay? But you know what? I do have hope, regardless of whether the time you listen to this episode you get it or not, that someday, before you leave this earth, while you still have time, you'll get it. Right? Stop ignoring jealousy. Stop ignoring low self-esteem. Always be wary of people who you're watching be great or be so talented and still don't believe in themselves, but also those who allow people to disrespect them and never do anything about it, even after that pep talk that you've given them or someone has given them. Still not doing nothing. Be very wary. Okay? Be very wary, because they gonna find the strength. And it's just like those parents who can't stand their boss, right? But ready to come home, and if a shoe is out of place, they're ready to knock your head off. They can't go to who they feel like is disrespecting them, so they go to who they feel like is going to accept them regardless, and who is an easier target, because sometimes people subconsciously still identify kindness as weakness. Red flag. Red flag. The moment they start getting crazy with you, if you know for a fact you haven't got crazy with them, that's not who you need to be around. It just isn't. It's like the mom that son or daughter was like, your boyfriend did this to me. No. No. What was you doing? Nah, you must be and don't do nothing about it? Mm-mm. And if you still got, sidebar, if you still got that mama around that did that to you, right? You're going to have to leave, or you're going to be just like that person. You got to set boundaries, right? Set boundaries from your main people that are supposed to support you. You start there, and then the rest will follow. Do not put up with normalized toxicity when you know for a fact it's not right. Don't put up with it when you decide that in the moment it suits you, or you've put up with it in the past. So, you wait for your moment to do it back to that person. No, toxicity. Okay? Low vibrations. If you want to elevate, surround yourself with people who are constantly elevating. Not saying they have to be perfect people and they can't, sometimes have doubts in themselves or whatever the case may be. But if you see a continuous downfall of them not doing anything to rectify the situation or stand up for themselves, it's time to distance yourself. If you yourself see that you want better, get around those people who are that better. New or old. Right? So, my new selection process is, if I haven't said it already or made it obvious enough, is I don't want to be around anybody with no low self-esteem. I just don't. And low self-esteem, not meaning that you don't doubt yourself, but low self-esteem is you're not doing anything about it. Nothing. Not going to therapy, not taking medication, not saying you got to do both, but not showing up and making a decision to try your best, right? Constantly down on yourself. If you're constantly down on yourself, at some point you're going to be down on everybody else around you. You are. This is the truth. I hate to say it. We were lied to. We want to be able to help people. We want to go and sit by. What some parents try to teach you? Go and be nice to the person that's sitting by themselves, right? Be their friend. Nobody will be their friend. You don't be the bully. You go be that person's friend, right? Sound good. But if that person is never willing to stand up for themselves, right? Oh yeah, please believe you're going to catch all them stray bullets that they should have been targeting. Not in the literal sense, but for some cases it is in the literal sense. But you're going to catch the smoke that should have been for the people that are actually disrespecting them. Okay? But no self-esteem people. No people that don't have goals and aspirations and aren't making a conscious effort to work on themselves. No people that are in toxic relationships and ain't doing nothing to better it. No people that are in toxic work environments and isn't doing anything to better it. I don't want none of that around me. I don't want none of what I used to be to rub off on me while I've elevated. I don't. I elevate, you elevate. Or else, stay where you at, and I'm going to go where I go. Okay? I'm serious. I am serious. I already told a friend, or, somebody who I did some gigs with already. I'm not working with you no more. You don't value yourself, and you're going to drag me down with you. So any gig you got, any job you got, or whatever the case may be, because I know you haven't figured out your value yet, I ain't going down with you. Be cordial with you, love you from a distance. But Now, people I cut off is, those people who deliberately do shady stuff because they're steady chasing the people that are not giving them affection and attention, right? They treat the people who step on them like they're darn king and queen. But the people who are there to love on them, they take for granted. Not doing that. And those are usually the low self-esteem people. If they do not love themselves, they cannot love you. If they do not respect themselves, they cannot respect you. Whether it's the person that will say out loud that, they don't feel good about themselves, or the person that is boastful with you, but you've seen proof that they're not going to get with the people. They're not going to go toe-to-toe with the people who are actually disrespecting them. Or they may be that person that is so hot-headed and so stubborn that everyone's afraid to tell them, hey, you messed up. Right? I don't want no parts. A weakness. Both of those are weakness. Whether the person that don't stand up for themselves or the person that is stepping on other people is both weakness. You do not have to step on anybody to get to where you need to get to. You don't. But you do have to love yourself. Okay? And when to start, where to start with those spaces, I said in the beginning, it was easier when you had to go to school. So those are the people you wanted to be on the team. So those are the people. For me, if I didn't go to the dance studio, I probably wouldn't have any connections where I currently live now after moving. Right? So where you do start is you go to places where you have common interests in things. And if there's a person that rubs you the wrong way, as soon as you see them, right? I would say don't strike up nothing with them. But at least by the second red flag, be gone. Be gone. Okay? Please. Stop this whole, I don't want to judge people. Rejection is protection. Okay? If I have seen and have concrete evidence that you've cheated on your spouse or every spouse that you've had, why should I take the chance and believe you ain't gonna do the same to me? Especially when I know, based off of your language, your terminology, and other signs and all sorts of, in my body, my spirit, I'm feeling, no. Red alarm. No, don't ignore that. If I'm feeling all of that, you is not the one for me. And I have to believe that the universe, God, Allah, Buddha, whoever you believe in, him, her, they, whoever, has more for me. And if everything in my body is telling me no and I still go ahead and do it, I'm going to suffer because I did not believe at the end of the day that I was worth more. If you're worth more, be more and set the standard for more. Okay? All right. I hope that you got something from today's episode. This is episode 55. We only have 5 more episodes until the end of the season. But y'all set the standards. I'm setting mine. And I'm not afraid to say it. I don't care how it sounds. However it sounds to people, that I guess that's how it's supposed to sound, right? If my My loving self, therapist self, psychic self takes the time to get to understand people when certain things they say or do rub me a certain type of way. I should get the same in return. And if they're not willing to do that, if you want to believe whatever is said about me, or, for our first glimpse or whatever the case may be, if you want to make your mind up about me, keep it that way. Don't change it. That's where I'm rolling. All right. Thank you again for listening. And don't forget to give yourself permission to not only live, but live and be great.
The Live and Be Great podcast will be airing every other Friday. If you have truly enjoyed this podcast, thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for giving Live and Be Great a chance. Please feel free to share, like, give a review, subscribe on whichever platform that you're listening to right now, on iTunes or Apple Podcast, Spotify, Anchor, as well as Google Play. The Live and Be Great podcast is strictly crowdfunded, so if you are interested in becoming a supporter, you can click the link in the description, or you can go to liveandbegreat.com and scroll to the bottom and donate to the Live and Be Great podcast today, so I can continue to give you good and motivational content. Thank you all for listening, and don't forget to give yourself permission to live and be great.